My name's Steve Feltham, full-time hunter of the Loch Ness Monster, and you're listening to the Unbelievers podcast.
There are many locations around the world that some would consider paranormal hotspots. The Skinwalker Ranch in Utah, the Bridgewater Triangle of the Northeast, the Floating Lantern Park in Florida. All these locations have become infamous for the myriad of high strangeness that occurs there, but there is another. Tonight, the Unbelievers podcast dares to scale the supernatural slopes of California's most peculiar peak, a mountain that's baffled both researchers and locals for centuries, a place known not only for its beauty and serenity, but also its slew of unexplainable sightings and mysterious disappearances. So strap on your hiking sneakers and grab a piece of paper, because it's time for Mysteries of Mount Shasta. Right here in the program, we continue to learn to unlearn everything you know. Hello and welcome to the Unbelievers podcast. I'm Rus Ryan, and joining me as always is Drea Mora. Hello, Drea.
Hello.
Hello there. And in New York, our soundboard engineer and producer, Rob Okey.
Mommy, I want to go home. What the hell have I done to myself?
What's up, guys? What are you doing?
What's up?
What is up, Rob? What is up, Dre? Yeah, playing some Art Bell. It was just Art Bell's birthday a few days ago as of this recording. And yeah, I guess that kind of lined up what we did a recent episode on Art Bell. It was also Grimace's birthday, which was fun.
Grimace? As in the purple guy from McDonald's?
The McDonald's purple guy.
I didn't know he was actually ever born.
Well, he was created in a lab around this time.
Sounds about right. Like everything else from McDonald's.
Yes.
Yeah, I learned that he's 51 years old.
51.
Grimace. But Rob, I mentioned you're from New York because you are going to be going on another Rob adventure across country. We're going to have LA Rob. We'll be back soon. That's exciting.
Yes. Next time we record an episode, I will more than likely already be living in my Airbnb in North Hollywood. So, yes, I'm going to be in the West Coast from now on.
Hell yeah.
And yeah, that's going to be fun. It's going to be an adventure. I'm going on a little adventure. It's not a midlife crisis. It's an adventure.
It's a career upgrade. And
it's a career upgrade. It's going to be
move.
great. I'm actually really excited. It's going to be dope. There's a lot of opportunities waiting for me out there. And honestly, if I could leave tonight, I would. But I got to wait. I got a couple more days here, and then I'm shooting out of town. But we're here to let's enjoy this. Actually, you know, it's weird. Where I'm going, I might even be able to go visit Mount Shasta. I'm going to be closer to it.
Kind of. You'll be like, I mean, it's going to be like 10 hours away from you still.
Listen, I might. It's an adventure, right? I told you
it's
this
an
already.
adventure.
It's going to be an adventure. We'll see what happens.
We will. And we're going to see if that's a good idea for Rob to go or not. Because tonight, let's get into the mysteries of Mount Shasta.
On the 4th of July, drove down the riverside. Lord, it was a dusty, dusty road. Woo! There in the blazing sun, there was no place to run. Lord, it was a dusty, dusty road. Going to our Mount Shasta home.
Yeah, the music has meaning. Yes, it does, because tonight we will be talking about a very important location in the paranormal, a place with a lot of myth and legend and folklore surrounding it, the very impressive and awe-inspiring Mount Shasta of California. Now, this is something I've been looking forward to covering this for a while now. Here we are, Drea, Rob, me. Hello. We are here together to discuss it. This is exciting, yes?
Yeah.
Always.
Well, I've been excited to talk about Mount Shasta for a while because it is like a little bit of a grab bag. There's a lot of shit going on over there. And,
yeah, a lot of weird things interconnecting.
Yeah.
Like it's weird.
The way people talk about it, some people like talk about it with a lot of reverence, and a lot of other people talk about it like with a lot of mystery, like it's real dangerous.
Yeah, and a lot of fear too.
Yeah, and a lot of other people just like they're just like, yeah, it's just like a mountain. There's a lot of different I guess aspects and ways that you can look at it, perspectives that you could look at Mount Shasta from.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We're going to hear about all of them. So let's get into it with a little bit of background knowledge. Now, Mount Shasta is a potentially active volcano at the southern end of the Cascade Range in Siskiyou County, California. It's the second highest peak in the Cascades and the fifth highest in the state. And the mountain and the surrounding area are part of the Shasta Trinity National Forest. And not only is Mount Shasta a hotspot for campers and hikers and wilderness lovers, it is also a hotspot for paranormal activity with things such as UFOs, ancient civilizations, alien creatures, Bigfoot, and other strange anomalies, which is why we are talking about it, as you guys mentioned. There's so much going on with Mount Shasta. It is really hard to know where to start, but thankfully, I think I've found a great jumping off point for us. This is a show that we have never talked about, a show that possibly no one has ever talked about until tonight. We're talking about a show called Mysteries of the Outdoors. Now, this is a program that covers mysteries outdoors.
Yeah, I had a feeling you were going to say that.
Not indoors.
There's a lot of territory to cover there, no pun intended. But that's going to be interesting to see what they actually talk about, because I see what they talk about in this one. How many seasons did that show go for?
2 seasons, but I agree. The outdoors is a great premise for a show. A lot of mysterious things occur there. And this is one of those shows that even has an alternate title where it's like been handed off to different companies. It can also be found as the program National Park Secrets and Legends.
What?
Oh.
Which is also fitting because every episode focuses on a different national park. And Mount Shasta, being part of the Shasta Trinity National Park, it got its own episode. And I'm so glad that we found this for a few reasons. Now, if there's one thing we've learned this season, is that if anything unexplained is happening in a national park, there is one man who will be there on camera talking about it. That is, of course, David Paulides, whose name we now know how to pronounce, of the Missing 411 and Carl Higdon fame. That's the first draw of Mysteries of the Outdoor. The other was this cold open of this episode on Mount Shasta, where we hear this account from David Paulides.
2011, Shasta Trinity National Forest, California. A young boy enters a cave with his grandmother.
And then she pulls out a piece of paper and in the boy's words says, "Could you please go poo on the paper?" And the boy explained that, "No, I didn't have to." She got upset. She tried to explain to him again that he had to do this, and he said that he couldn't. And the boy explained that at about this time, he realized that he's not talking to his grandmother, but he's talking to something else.
Mount Shasta. Are you guys all in now? Right, this is how this thing starts. That is the hook. A grandma wanting her grandson to, what did she say?
"Could you please go poo on the paper?"
What the fuck kind of intro is this?
It was a pretty odd choice to use as the first thing that a person's going to hear about this. The first thing you hear in this. Yeah.
No, you know what? It was the perfect thing to start the episode with because it got my attention. You want that. That's what you want. You want the first line of dialogue to really be an attention grabber. And
I'm sorry.
I'll tell you what.
Poo? I'm
I was
in.
like, excuse me? At least she asked politely. She said, please, on this paper, right?
"Could
Isn't that
you
what she
please go poo on the paper?"
She asked, like, if there's any way to ask someone to do that, that is the nicest
politely.
way I could- yeah.
That's just to pull you into the idea of Mount Shasta. So now that we have the tease, we get that. There's a Grandma Pooh story. That's in a little bit. Stay tuned.
Grandma poo-poo. What is going on, Grandma? Stop
That's
it.
just a tease. The show starts proper with a story of Shasta strangeness involving a 19-year-old kid named Michael Falvo, who was visiting Mount Shasta in 2011 with what they described as a New Age religious group who believe that the mountain is a center of spiritual transformation and enlightenment. And they spend the day hiking around this mountain and doing New Age religious dances and other fun activities when inexplicably, Michael, the 19-year-old, breaks away from the group at the end of the day and did this.
He got to the bottom, he looked back up the hill, took his shoes off, and went right back up.
Michael's sudden departure is without reason or explanation.
Michael had mild asthma, and already being up the mountain once, and hoofing it back up there a second time. You get up to 7,500 feet, and it gets very thin up there.
Temperatures at night plummet to minus 10 degrees at this altitude. And Michael is all alone, with nothing to protect him from Mount Shasta's deadly elements.
He passed out, and then, of course, died of exposure.
Michael's parents are dumbfounded. Their son's behavior is so out of character, they suspect that drugs might have played a role.
I called the coroner and demanded that they do a full tox screen. It came back negative, nothing, not even alcohol. And I think that raised more questions.
Questions about Michael continuing to climb up the mountain at night, as if being summoned by an invisible power.
Yeah, this poor kid being compelled to run back up a mountain alone. You know, if anyone in their clear mind would know, I mean, Mount Shasta is huge, and having already had gone to climb it, to just run back up and basically almost kill yourself doing it. I mean, kill yourself doing
almost,
it.
Yeah.
Well,
I think
he did kill himself.
He done did it.
Yeah, no, he succeeded. He was running up the hill, like just like the
running up that hill,
like in that song from Stranger Things. That was very popular.
It's a song from Stranger Things.
It's the song from Stranger Things. That's what everybody says, right?
I actually heard it in a Big Lots a few days ago. I was like, oh, the Stranger Things song is on.
Yeah. That Stranger Things song. It didn't come out 25 years ago or whatever.
No one cared about it until, okay.
Yeah, no, gosh.
Look, and it's a good thing. But still, yes.
Not for him.
It's insane what he did. No, of course not. That wasn't a hill. That was a fucking mountain, a volcano mountain that's haunted or whatever. It was a bad idea, Michael.
I feel bad for him. It sounds like he needed help, different kind of help. Like he needed to go to like a special place where they could help him.
But the whole story makes no sense though, because they say that he's there with a New Age religious group. Now, I've done some research into this, that there are hundreds of New Age religious groups have sprouted out around Mount Shasta just over the last 100 years or so.
New Age religious group. Is that like just a nice way to say cults?
Well, you don't know.
It's a nice way to say like hippies usually,
Yeah,
but like I
space
get it.
hippies and
There's
stuff.
you know, it covers a lot of different groups. You know, I'm not gonna try to.
But I want to know what group, and you can't find any info about what group he was affiliated with. The only other detail I could find is that it wasn't as dramatic as in this. He told the group that he wanted to go place a single rock on top of the Mount Shasta and goodbye. Which already has a lot of rocks up there, I'm sure. I don't know the point of that.
What? That's why he did it?
Yes, I read that in a separate article. That wasn't mentioned in the show. I'm doing the research on this.
Well, no, they did say that the groups had all placed their rocks on top of the mountain.
He forget his?
Descended. That's what I mean. It's like you already did that, dude.
Maybe he forgot.
It's weird.
He felt like an idiot. We were supposed to leave him? Like, yeah, that's why we went up there.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, something doesn't seem right about that whole story. I can't really put my finger on it, but there's something strange. There's something weird about that, man.
Look, we already got 2 examples of some weird stuff going on in Shasta.
Yeah, that's bizarre. That's really bizarre.
Yeah, this show, it's all about weird things happening to individuals on Mount Shasta, which explains why David Paulides is in there in the first place. But like I said, it's a good jumping off point for us. We need to just, take off our shoes and book it up there, see what's really going on. And the next story of Shasta strangeness is kind of in the same vein. It's not the Pooh Granny, not yet. We're getting there. But now we're going to hear about a woman named Rosemary Kunst, and she was a recent widow who was taking part in a retreat there on the mountain in August of 2000. And one day she decides she wants to take a lone journey with the hopes of finding a peaceful place to connect with her deceased husband. That's sad, but I don't know, if you want to do that, Mount Shasta, that's a good place to attempt it. Very peaceful, very serene. So let's hear how that turned out for Rosemary Kunst.
She wanted some type of spiritual retreat, maybe some meditation point where she could speak or communicate in some way with her husband. She walked to the other side of the lake, and this was the last time anyone ever saw her.
By sunset, Rosemary hasn't returned, and a massive search begins. 150 searchers scour the area. Helicopters with heat-seeking cameras scan every square mile of the forest. Rosemary has disappeared without any clues. Searcher Grizz Adams begins with the most likely theory, that she was attacked by a bear.
Bears will eat everything and anything. So you'll actually find pieces of clothing and backpack and tennis shoes and those kinds of things. You can find that in the bear scat. We searched for many days. We were never able to find any of her clothing, her backpack that she had with her. Nothing ever was found.
There was no scene of blood, no tufts of hair in a fight, no skin. There was nothing in that area indicating there was a struggle. Rosemary Kunst vanished.
Yeah, even Grizz Adams couldn't find her. That's a great name for a wilderness guy, the Grizzly Adams. So, but they talk about this area that this happened in. It's kind of like a bowl as part of the mountain. There's like only one way in and one way out, and they still found nothing of her.
Yeah, that's the bizarre part is that like there would at least be some clothing tears or remnants if it was a wild animal attack. They don't eat all the clothes.
A couple people I asked about Mount Shasta, that people that had been there said, there's lots of bears around there. And Grizz Adams even says...
You can find that in the bear scat.
But they couldn't.
Yeah, he knows a lot about bear scat, this guy. I can tell by the way he said that. He's spent a lot of time digging around.
That's the worst way to have to search for someone, too. Like, we got to go look through all the bear scat for any type of clues. Like, that's just...
Yeah, you don't think about that when you think about, like, search and recovery of, like, bodies. It's like...
Grizz Adams does...
Digging through doo-doo out there. There's a lot of poop stuff going on in this episode. I'm already
I kind of like this that we have.
Could you please go poo on the paper?
You can find that in the bear scat.
All right.
Heavy on the poo.
2 for 2 with the poo clips tonight.
We're not even 20 minutes in.
Look, this is Mount Shasta compelling all this. I have nothing to do with this.
Yeah, no, you nothing. No, it's writing itself. That's why we do this show. Because it literally writes itself. All we have to do is report on it, and it turns itself into comedy. It's the best.
Turns itself into poop. Yeah.
There's just poop everywhere.
Well, we might as well get into it because something strange is definitely happening on this mountain. That has been established on Mysteries of the Outdoors thus far. So it's time to circle back to that cold open. We all remember that kid. Well, let's find out what's really going on here, man.
September 2nd, 2011.
A family was camping on the McLeod River, which is in an area just near the base of Mount Shasta. It was late in the afternoon, sometime about 5:30 or 6:30, and something unusual happened.
The family's 3-year-old boy is somehow separated from his parents.
And the family got concerned because in this region, there isn't a lot of places to disappear to. There's big trees, there aren't a lot of small bushes, and the river isn't exceptionally large.
He ended up in a cave underground somewhere.
For reasons the boy does not understand, his grandmother is waiting for him in the cave.
Would you like to go on a walk with me? Yes.
She takes him far from where anyone can hear or see them.
And then she pulls out a piece of paper, and in the boy's words, "Could you please go poo on the paper?" And the boy explained that, "No, I didn't have to." She got upset. She tried to explain to him again that he had to do this, and he said he didn't, and he couldn't.
Poor kid.
Now we get the backstory. This is a 3-year-old kid who in the recreation looks 6 or 7. They kept saying 3. I'm like, that is not a 3-year-old. But he gets lost in a cave, and then his grandma's there with him with very specific demands. And I want to mention, grandma was not on this camping trip. That the grandma, she just, that's who he encountered. She wasn't part of the family trip.
Of course she wasn't. She was in the cave.
I mean, 3-year-olds are easily confused, right? Like, no, your grandma has been here the whole time, you weirdo.
This sounds like a horror movie, though. It sounds like a horror, like it turned into a weird horror movie.
Anytime somebody wants and tries to force you to poop in front of them is a horror situation.
It is. It's even Politis is flustered. Listen to this.
She got upset. She tried to explain to him again that he had to do this, and he said he didn't, and he couldn't.
He said he couldn't. I don't know.
He's like, I don't have to do this, and I can't even do this right now.
She's like,
I don't
you have to
shit.
do
I'm
this,
sorry,
but
Grandma.
I don't have it. I didn't
She's like,
eat enough yesterday.
Please shit for me on this paper. Poop on it. Like, no, Grandma, you're crazy.
Grandma, I put up with the pee test thing because I understood that you had to see your parole officer, but this is different. I don't need to pee and poop.
Why? Yeah, and the other thing, think about this: this is a 3-year-old. They're mentioning you got to keep your eye on those kids, man. If especially out on Mount Shasta, where there's all weird shit happening, let your kid wander off into caves. It's almost like he's having some weird like Luke under the tree, like a vision going on or something. But yeah, let's put ourselves in this kid's shoes. You're 3. You're lost in a cave. You see your grandma. She wants you to make a poo on a piece of paper. What could possibly happen next?
And he couldn't.
Just then, the boy fills with fear. He realizes that he's not talking to his grandmother. He's talking to something else. The boy is too young to understand who or what she is, but even at 3, he senses that she isn't human. 5 hours pass. The boy wakes up on a path in the forest, half a mile from where he went missing. He has no idea how he got there.
The boy is 3 years old. For a 3-year-old boy to come up with this story on his own without going through the experience is pretty hard to believe.
He's a really perceptive kid. To know it's a fake grandma and to somehow survive going missing in Mount Shasta, I think that's impressive. Michael Falvo and Rosemary Coons could take a few notes from this kid. Maybe they got tricked like this.
Might have been a different time of year. I don't know.
Yes, when the poop goblin grandmas come out.
I meant surviving the night and not dying of exposure. Because I can't imagine it's that covered in snow year round.
No, not at all. Yeah, definitely. This was probably a summer trip, and they were trying to show off in the winter.
I just wonder, do they take turns, like the paranormal entities that live within Shasta? Are they just like, all right, this time, ghost grandma, you got this one, and the aliens are next time.
Aliens can abduct Rosemary Coons. Yeah, the vampires take the other guy.
Who decides who gets to be weird when at Mount Shasta?
I think it's a free for all at all times. We don't hear the endings of most of them. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to get it in when you can get it in.
Right, it's like Skinwalker Ranch.
That's the Mount Shasta motto.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on.
Gotta get it in when you can get it in.
I think I saw that on a Shasta can once. I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
The conclusion to this is amazing because the actual grandma, not that fake poop craving grandma, the real grandma is brought in by the family to bring more validity to this twisted tale.
She's like, I was never in a cave.
I don't ask for poop.
Luckily, the boy is not harmed. But once back with his family, something very unusual occurs.
The story goes that the boy went back home, and a few days later, he met with his grandmother.
As the boy describes his experience, the grandmother has a chilling realization. She was camping in the exact same place where the boy was found 3 weeks earlier.
Sometime during that night, she awoke to a stinging sensation at the base of her neck. And she asked her friend to look at her neck area. Her friend stated that at base of that neck, right over the spine, there was a puncture mark with a small amount of blood.
Is this just coincidence, or is there a link between the strange mark and the entity posing as the boy's grandmother?
There could have been some type of DNA taken from that spinal puncture mark and helped orchestrate this entity to look like a grandmother.
Did the entity want the boy's feces in order to clone him too?
Probably, yeah.
Feels like a South Park episode.
So in this,
I would watch it.
They show the grandma from a few weeks earlier in this recreation. They show the grandma lying on a blanket with who I assumed was grandpa, but they're saying it was a friend. They look pretty close in that.
That's what you call it. You can't call it her boyfriend. It's
grandpa friend.
That's
because
weird.
at what point
grandma's friend?
She lays boyfriend to old man friend.
Quote, unquote.
Yeah, he's not a boy.
But yeah, she gets this weird incision, like a little circular mark on the back of her neck, and they go all out with this. They're like, well, they definitely used that technology to make a fake grandma, and now they gotta wonder:
did the entity want the boy's feces in order to clone him too?
That is a great question. Yeah, is feces a good way to clone somebody?
No, I was watching this with Jack, and he was like, "Why would that?" He's like, "That's the worst thing because it's got so much bacteria. There's so much other DNA in that."
Okay, here's my theory. I think because usually they extract it, the classic way, the usual way,
what's the classic usual way?
Shasta shit babies? That's not.
The usual way. Doing. Usually when the aliens abduct you. Because we're going with aliens right now, basically.
Oh,
that's what
okay.
I feel like.
Yeah, they crescent you. You get the bowl. That's the way you clone somebody.
They jerk you. They jerk you, or they take your eggs. They take the reproductive stuff. With a kid, though, they're not there yet. They don't have that stuff. So they're not. They're like, we can't do those things.
Jerk off his dad then. Why are they messing with the kid and making him?
Because they were just like, we got him.
I think they're just the
Shasta.
Are dumb. Yeah.
You remember the motto of Shasta?
Yeah, I remember the model of Shasta.
So that's when they saw a kid. They were like, "This is perfect. We haven't done one of these yet. Let's see what he's got going. Let's get his poop." Like they were like, "How do we get it?" They're like, "Just get some poop
on a piece of paper."
With the grandma though, the grandma just had a puncture mark on the back of her neck, and they took artistic liberties making it look like an actual circle or whatever. Like we don't know. Honestly, it sounds like a bug bite.
Grandma remembered she got bit by a bug. That's probably why she was out there weeks later. It wasn't me, I swear. Me and my friend weren't back out in Shasta.
Do you think it was like white printing paper, like printer paper, or was it? Do you think it was like she pulled it out of like a notebook or like?
It's a very good question.
We have to find this kid.
Binder or something, possibly.
Yeah, if he's three, he's 3 and whatever this was in year 2000 or whatever. Yeah, he's old enough.
Maybe it wasn't really paper. She was just. This is like the aliens trying to make it so that it seemed normal because they're like they know about paper. They don't know about these iPad
there's
things.
toilet paper. Like this is how they go.
Yeah,
poo,
this is
right?
how they
there's
go poo.
Toilet paper there, and just here, do this.
Do your
thing.
business on the paper.
This is what they use.
This is what
paper.
they know. They're like, it's toilet paper.
You're in the woods, kid.
Why aren't you shitting?
Well, you're gonna use a leaf. I have paper. It's right here. Now, give
Like,
it,
no. We have done much studying on your people. And
Did the entity want the boy's feces in order to clone him too?
Yes. Well, it isn't just 3-year-olds who have countered this sinister presence on Mount Shasta. The indigenous people who have lived in this area for centuries have also warned of beings such as this. And in the show, they talk with a Karuk medicine man named Jack Tom, a.k.a. Walking Eagle, who says that his grandparents would warn him to never go past the tree lines on Mount Shasta because that is where the big people live. And that the big people are very dangerous, but his curiosity about this led him to try and camp out there when he was in his late teen years and his wild years. He goes out there with his girlfriend, and he claims to have encountered these beings, these giant beings, and that he would close his eyes and open them, and close his eyes and open them, and the third time, they just disappeared. The beings would be gone, but he knows they're real, and there are some great theories about what these beings could be, and one of those theories we'll hear right now.
Stories of encounters with these strange entities reach back over 150 years. Who are these mysterious figures that allegedly live above the tree line? Author David Hatcher Childress believes they are Lemurians, descendants of an enlightened race that lived on a continent connected to Northern California long ago.
You have these ancient lost continents that are over 10,000 years old. One is the famous Atlantis. Another was said to exist in the Pacific area, and it's called Lemuria. And it too would have been an advanced civilization with boats and ships that went around the world and would have gone, say, to North America or South America and Asia as well.
Besides Jack Tom, many other people have reported seeing strange human-like figures around Mount Shasta, which many believe are Lemurians.
All right, now we're talking Lemurians. And I gotta admit, maybe I was a noob on this. I always thought Lemurians were aliens, but
no.
But they would be from this planet. Them being in the TOA, the Tournament of Aliens, I think confused me. I just assumed that Lemurians were aliens.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Bigfoot is on the Tournament of Aliens.
They were.
I was gonna say, were they not? They were.
They were, yes.
No, they're from the place where lemurs are from. You know, like those little monkey creatures. That's where apparently those things. I don't know if like.
So they have like a monkey face, a monkey finger, a monkey hand.
Oh my god!
Have all
wow. That? Okay, here. No, you're getting it. You asked for it. You're getting it. You're getting it.
Oh, Lemurians.
Like a monkey face and monkey figure, and this is 8 feet height.
They are pretty big. Yeah, that is about right.
Like, what were they talking about there? That was a
Indian.
that was
Indian
monkeys.
Bigfoot.
Unbelievable
Indian
monkeys.
monkey man. Yes.
Yeah, maybe he was from Lemurian.
Yeah, which we're finding. Yeah, is just a lost continent. These are definitely.
If they have volcanoes over there, yeah.
You're right. You're right. They could be. Maybe that was part of Lemuria. Who knows? But
I, for some reason, I imagine them like looking half like those lemurs and half like humans.
I think they look more human. But that's the thing. It's Mount Shasta, so we don't really know. There's a lot of different kind of humanoids, and these Lemurians, they kind of are what they're calling these tall things. So now they're
like the scapegoat of Shasta.
yeah.
When it comes down to it, you'll see.
They're like the legacy big guys on this, and they become the prime suspect in these disappearances. They're Lemurians, but no one is quite sure if their intentions are good or possibly evil.
Some believe the Lemurians have transformed Mount Shasta into an energy vortex that lures thousands of visitors each year. If the Lemurians are the reason for Mount Shasta's reputation as one of the most spiritual places in the world, why are people mysteriously vanishing from the mountain? Are the Lemurians conducting genetic experiments, cloning people like the lost boy's grandmother?
I believe that they are manipulating people for
abduction purposes for the procedures of changing our DNA.
Could this also explain what happened to Rosemary Kuntz?
Like, how can somebody just disappear, off the face of the earth?
Some believe the Lemurians are also responsible for the bizarre death of Michael Falvo, who acted as if he was summoned up the mountain. Was this a Lemurian abduction that went wrong?
Some people call them Lemurians,
Oh, you
some
went
people
right.
call them aliens, some people just call them spirits, but they are demonic.
Whoa. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
you're an expert.
Those fuckers, they're demonic.
That expert,
They are.
that was a woman named Virginia Patrick. She's a Christian commentator who I believe was brought on the show just to throw shade on the Lemurians. Like the Jack Tom guy who went and visited them, he thought they were cool and that they were like, he thought the Lemurians are guiding people towards ascension or something, but not Virginia though. She's like, oh no, this is definitely demonic.
No matter what, it's definitely demonic. Like, how do you know that?
Yeah, how can you say that? How can you say that? You said you don't know what they are, but you know they're demonic. Those two things contradict each other.
It's like the fairness doctrine of Mysteries of the Outdoors. Like, we got to stay fair and balanced. We have to have one radical Christian person. We have to have one radical indigenous person to say how awesome they are. I don't know why they're given equal time on this, but...
And I will just say, she does not look like a scientist.
No. I mean, look at her title. Her only credit there underneath her name was literally Christian commentator.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say stuff and I'm Christian. That's all I got.
Yes, and she's speaking very confidently about
Very
this
matter
topic.
of fact, yeah.
Very matter of fact. Like she knows it all.
I don't like it.
And I don't know who made this show Mysteries Outdoors about Mount Shasta, because it ends on a really dark note. And Virginia Patrick, once again, amps up the fear level here.
Yes, I think there is a force up there that pulls these people in. I mean, it's serene and beautiful, and I can understand why people come up here, but it's just very dangerous.
After spending millennia building their secret underground city, some believe the Lemurians are now planning their next move.
These demonic beings live in the mountain, and I believe there's going to come a time when they're going to actually live among us, and that time may be now.
Some people claim that they are among us already.
I believe they want to breed with us. It's in fact about changing our DNA.
Rather than being an epicenter for spiritual seekers, Mount Shasta may have a much more sinister purpose. Some believe that the Lemurians may be planning an invasion of the human species.
I believe they're coming for a super war, between the natural and the supernatural.
Oftentimes, stories are just stories, but as strange as it seems, there really is something going on here.
I know what I seen. I know what I felt. There is a force to be reckoned with up there. They're not from this world. They're here to conquer Earth.
Whoa. They're here to take over the Earth. This ragtag group of ancient Lemurians who have been hiding in caves. They're going to breed with us or make fake grandmas, whatever they're going to do, and then take over.
Okay.
If that's even what they are. Like, we don't even...
I didn't even realize that they were actually accusing them of making a fake grandma like that. I thought that it was more like a spiritual apparition that they created. So they're talking about they're saying experiments. So they think that the Lemurians are underground, living under Mount Shasta in some sort of a facility that they built a long, long time ago. They've been living in.
In the lava tubes. There's lava tubes.
And now they're kind of feeling like living amongst us now.
Amongst us.
Because now they're finally able to.
Well, yeah, they need to somehow breed with us to be able to kind of look more like us, snatch some people off the mountain.
Wait, alter our DNA.
Right.
With our poo on paper.
Something.
You got to put the poo to paper.
I'll never again.
That's what they say.
Never again am I doing that. Oh, no.
Leaps and bounds these people are taking. It's like, let's take one what if and then go 20 what ifs later and say it as a fact.
Yeah.
They are. They're taking over a world, and there's going to be a super war.
The super war is a great term. I love that. You don't hear a lot. Like, war would have been enough. It's like, no, this is Lemurians. This is a super war.
Well, she couldn't say world war because it would involve more than just the world. I don't know. Man, she sounds like she just wants to be a science fiction writer.
The level of paranoia that they work themselves up to it's scary. It's kind of scary because they start with these little theories, and then by the end of it, she's so worked up there's a fucking super war coming. This is just possibly like it might be time. Like they've been planning for this for a long time, and it might be time.
Born
for them
again
to,
Christianity got started. Like, no, one baptism wasn't enough. Now we need two.
I'm pretty sure if there was a time, like it's come and gone. Like they've had so much time. What are they waiting for?
Yeah.
What are they fucking waiting for? How big can they build their army under this goddamn volcano?
Well, the other thing is, we know so much about Mount Shasta just like tangentially already. Like we know that there's more than just Lemurian stuff going on. And so, I think we cannot explore, we cannot judge everything about Mount Shasta in this 22-minute episode of Mysteries of the Outdoors. They can't possibly cover it all. But thankfully, Rob, you are in luck because I know you always want us to dip into Ancient Aliens, the show. Well,
the show.
They did an episode on Mount Shasta. And it's not surprising considering that there's about 1,000 episodes of Ancient Aliens out. But this is from season 17, and it features
17. That's like
Jesus Christ.
That is
man.
crazy. That's crazy.
So they finally got around in season 17 to doing a Mount Shasta episode, and it features a lot of the same people that were on Outdoor Mysteries. You have Jack Tom, the medicine man, shows up. David Childress, that kind of fat guy who's always on there. He was on the Mount Shasta thing. David Paulides is on this as well. But
I'm sorry, when did they change the format of this show up as well? They added this whole like round table thing to it.
It's become very lazy. That's how they can do tons of shows. They don't need to go out on location. They consider it. That's what this episode did. A lot of it is them sitting at a desk, but save it. One guy does go on an adventure there, but we'll talk about that soon. But this also has the bonus, of course, of Giorgio Tsoukalos and Nick Pope, that fake British Mulder, and fucking Tok Thompson. All the heavy hitters come out for Mount Shasta. And here is another aspect of the Shasta that needs to be brought up. UFOs.
Over the past century, there have been more than 50 reports of UFO sightings around Mount Shasta, with an increasing number in just the last decade.
Almost everyone who lives there has seen something unusual. One of the most remarkable UFO sightings I've heard of took place in 2008. Witnesses in the town of McLeod saw a UFO that looked like a giant glowing jellyfish move over the town and then fly off into the distance.
I was driving back from Klamath Falls around 6:37 in the evening.
That's
in the
Walking Eagle.
summertime. And all of a sudden, I looked up on the mountain and I seen the whole mountain toward Wairika side open up. And then this big ship came and sat there and hovered for a minute and then went right in. And the next thing you know, the mountain closed and I was like, what is going on? I never let things like that bother me, though, but I've seen things like that all the time.
All right, so we got jellyfish, mountains opening up, and that was Jack Tom, the Walking Eagle guy from the other one, talking about portals and ships flying around. He didn't mention that on Mysteries of the Outdoors, and he had a lot of time to talk.
Yeah, that's true. I don't understand why that didn't go further in depth. They let Christian commentator go on about the different stages of unholy super war that were going to happen.
And demons, but nothing about...
I never let things like that bother me, though, but I've seen things like that all the time.
I don't really mention them on television shows I go on, except Ancient Aliens, because you guys want to hear me talk about UFOs, so I'll do that.
Different producers, different editors on those two projects. You
True.
can definitely tell the difference there. One of them is leaning more into the fear aspect. You know, they really like that lady mongering up some good old classic old-fashioned fear in that other show. But this one's more like, they're just like, this shit's weird, yo. Like, they're not like trying to scare you. That's like Ancient Aliens, their whole thing is they're just like, how weird is this?
Yeah, they're like, it's fine. We'll talk about missing people, but let's talk about UFOs. And they, of course, it's Ancient Aliens to get the great graphics of the hole opening up on Mount Shasta and a giant jellyfish that you can't even see on a satellite flying into it.
CG.
I feel like I've heard a similar story before. I can't tell where it was from, but
we cannot see the jellyfish from satellites. So
it's not the one I was thinking of, but I have heard stories about people about the mountain opening up and ships flying into the mountain, using it as a sort of a Stargate
portal.
Yeah. That and like the sub, like the underwater aliens. What were they?
USOs? Sure.
Yeah.
Atlanteans,
USOs.
Lemurians.
Yeah, all of that. I mean, it's funny. I was just watching this program about like, Planet X and everything. It was that show, How the World Ends. And similarly, it starts off sounding pretty scientific and then just starts to devolve into like a just series of huge assumptions. And then you realize, I think we should do a whole separate episode on that, but it was a very similar kind of idea that there's possibly these aliens who are going to be the cause of this, or there's like a reason behind it, and we need to listen to them, like the Zeta Reticuli are trying to tell us about this planet coming in. I don't know, man.
It seems like a recent theme for us with Heaven's Gate last week, and now getting back into Ancient Aliens and following this whole thread. And
you get what I'm saying, where they like make the Lemurians kind of the scapegoat of Mount Shasta, though, where it's like they kind of are like
anything that goes wrong,
anything that goes wrong, like the UFOs, they're like, that's probably the Lemurians testing their new.
It's like a guy could have fallen into one of those little shadow like snow holes. We just didn't found him. Like,
the guy. They're like the guy ran up the hill. A guy ran up the hill and died. They're like, Lemurians were probably responsible.
They told him to do it.
And it's like, are we going to blame the Lemurians for that?
Could you please go poo on the paper?
Yeah, Lemurians.
Classic Lemurian move there.
We all know that they love poo. Those Lemurians. Everybody knows it. It's a classic Lemurian trope.
Well, that's why I was glad that Ancient Aliens is so all over the place, just like us. So there's even more high strangeness is happening on the mountain. And something I know you also have an interest in, Rob. Mount Shasta could be home to giants.
There are traditions of giants linked with Mount Shasta, which absolutely fascinate me. And one of these goes back quite a long way, and it's part of the Modoc tribe, who are kind of part of this area. And they say that Sky Spirit's daughter was abducted by a bear, and she actually gave birth to a race of giants.
Some people suggest that these are actually hairy beast Sasquatch-like beings
connected with Mount Shasta.
So you've got this convergence of these stories of massive UFO sightings, giants, star beings. This is like a hotbed area up here. It is incredible.
Yeah, you got the Sky Spirit's daughter who made it with a bear, and that's why we have hairy giants like Sasquatch.
That just, I guess. Like,
no, it doesn't. It doesn't work like that.
It's like a childish theory. Yeah, the whole thing with earlier where they were like, they're trying to alter our DNA. That's not how that works. Like, we're still a separate species.
It's like there's different rules on Mount Shasta. It's like now it's like you've got Sasquatch, and they have to coexist with the Lemurians and the hikers and the fake grannies. Like, they're all up there in the mountain hiding out, doing their thing.
No. How dare them for trying to tie Sasquatch into a bear fucking a sky woman? That's wild claim. I don't know.
Yeah, then a bear, just a normal bear, has the power to steal the Sky Spirit's daughter. I'm not buying that.
A fucking bear fucked a lady? What? Oh my God, I'm not even going to get into it. But how does that?
The baby wave, and everything. The story.
How the fuck does that work? How does that work, dude?
The broad-shouldered beast has the body of a bear.
It's a man, though.
I mean, there's a lot of people who would like that to be a reality, but.
Well, it's just not possible. It's physically impossible. I don't think genetically that there's any sort of anything that could happen there. Even if it is a
Spirit's daughters maybe have different rules that we don't know about, but let's bring it back again to that fake granny in the Pooh story, because this episode of Ancient Aliens actually addresses that story. It must be David Paulides' like go-to Shasta story. It's like, hey, you got great missing people stories. It's like, oh, wait, I'll tell you about the Pooh granny. But in Ancient Aliens, the Pooh granny story is told much, much differently.
A 3-year-old boy disappeared on a camping trip, and he was later found by search and rescue at one of the first places they would have looked, right next to a trail. One of the first things search and rescue people do is, as they're walking down a trail, they're calling the boy's name.
Tommy! Hey, Tommy! Hey, Tommy, where are you?
Now, if he was near the trail and he heard that, chances are he's going to come and get help, because he'd been out there overnight. So to think that he was next to that trail the whole time is really hard to understand. Another unusual aspect to that story is that this boy told a story of, after going missing, he was down in some kind of underground cave, and a woman, but he thought was a robot, was there asking him if he was okay and comfortable, It was all a very strange story, something I've never heard before.
While the story may sound like the product of a child's imagination, the search and rescue team could provide no explanation for how the boy went missing for 5 hours, only to suddenly turn up right next to the trail.
Sounded like System of a Down in the background. That was
But it's fucking revisionist history. Now it's a robot lady who's just checking on him. He's leaving all the facts of this story out here. Because we know in our heart of hearts that is a feces-craving grandma clone. Come on, David Paulides.
Yeah. Some vital stuff missing there. Some serious shit.
Her
missing from that
whitewashing the story for Ancient Aliens. I don't like it. I don't like her just a robot.
I'm fine with it. I don't want any more details about this story because, I mean, I think I've heard enough.
Yes, I had heard enough too. I was like, just say it. We know it's coming. But he's like, oh, it's just a robot.
Like a robot.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
He's probably tired of mentioning it. It makes him feel uncomfortable, which, I mean, it should.
She was doing the opposite of comforting that kid, though. Like, his story is all over the place.
Who knows? He wasn't there.
What would a robot want with your poop? They don't even know what to do with it. They don't even know what it is.
She was, I think, because, when you're that young, you don't know how to describe things and storytell very well. So I'm guessing that's just what the kid said. He said, he described her as almost like a robot. So maybe she was just behaving oddly and mechanical.
Like Rosie from the Jetsons? That's like a grandma robot.
No, like what's her name? Vicky from that fucking 80s show.
She's acting like a goddamn... She's acting like a goddamn Lemurian, is what she was doing.
Smells and walks and shits like a Lemurian. It's probably a Lemurian.
Probably a goddamn Lemurian.
Yep.
They love shit.
And they love drawing people out. Like, it's a lot of this is about Lemurians are somehow able to trick you, almost like Fayish in a way, to come to them in this. And they kind of establish that.
Oops. Yeah,
oops.
That the whole mountain, that people are just strangely drawn to this mountain. And Ancient Aliens is going to try to explain that as only they could.
People are called to Mount Shasta and they don't know why.
Mount Shasta is also apparently on a major ley line. There's a telluric current of energy going from different grid spots and power spots. What's going on in Mount Shasta is not just in North America. All over the world are these power spot mountains like Mount Shasta. Yep. Mount Shasta is sometimes said to be one of the chakras of the planet, too.
The ancient Sanskrit term, chakra, refers to energy centers in the human body. In his 1967 book, Earth Chakras, author Robert Kuhn proposed that the planet also has energy centers, and that these act as connection points to otherworldly dimensions. His list included Mount Sinai in Egypt, Mount Kailash in Tibet, and Mount Shasta.
Okay, so Earth has chakras. That doesn't seem like that much of a far-fetched thing, even though it does involve monsters in this case. Does it seem far-fetched, Drea?
Yes. What does that even mean?
I think they mean
power centers or something. Yeah.
Not literal chakras. You're not going to
I was like, where does the Earth have its root chakra where the Earth gets horny around volcanoes? That
does seem to be what they imply, that either volcanoes or fake volcanoes are very much power centers.
Fake volcanoes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why couldn't they just stick with the word vortexes then?
No, because they have to Ancient Aliens likes to lay out a whole grid.
Exotify it.
Yeah, they got to make it bigger.
It's deeper than just a vortex.
So yeah,
it's more than that.
We just don't get it.
Yeah, you just don't understand yet.
It's too dumb.
Stick around for season 18. You might figure it out. But at this point, the question is, okay, ley lines, power spots, chakra Shastas, how does this all work?
It seems that Mount Shasta is on some energy line that's perhaps connected even to Cusco and Lake Titicaca, the Great Pyramids, power spots, and sacred places.
So exciting.
It's important you bring up the Great Pyramid because it reminds me of Mount Shasta.
Really?
Okay. First of all, it's a volcano, and the word pyramid means fire in the middle. And underneath the Great Pyramid are tunnels. Same thing here at Shasta. And it makes me think, well, maybe Shasta could have been the natural origin of the idea of the pyramid as a power center.
But the pyramid is an artificial construction. A lava tube is not artificial.
Exactly.
That's
and what
nature.
I'm saying is that perhaps the pyramid is kind of like a technological version of a naturally occurring power center like a volcano.
Okay, so
Shasta is a natural pyramid because the pyramid is like a fake volcano, if you believe in the ancient aliens theory on pyramids.
Which, as we know, they're constructed out of paper clips and scotch tape most of the time, their theories.
The shape is similar. Got to give them that. They're onto something
conical,
there.
Sure, yeah.
It's a hill. It's a pointy hill, and they're onto that.
Yes,
but
so is a ziggurat, but go on.
I've never seen a pyramid erupt. I don't think that they're designed to do that.
That's why I had that gold cap, so they wouldn't bust open.
They were meant just to be, like a statue thing, like a memorial. They're meant to be like, here's a structure that is this person's tomb that's commemorating them, a big old, monument. It's not, I don't think it was.
No, they're space laser portals. This is ancient aliens and all that.
Maybe in Las Vegas, Luxor does that, but that's a bit different.
Okay.
That's for money.
In the end, it comes back to aliens because it always does on Ancient Aliens.
Always.
Didn't those guys sound like they were just passing something around, coming up with those theories just now in that last clip? Like, that was the most, that 70s show kind of part. Yeah, you know what? And, like, the pyramids are like a Shasta, but Shasta is like the first pyramid.
Like a pyramid.
It was like a dumb idea potluck. Yeah. Everybody brings a little bit of stupid to the table.
Yeah, and speaking of bringing stupid to the table, look, just because I'm playing poo clips today does not mean I'm going to lower myself to clip a guy just saying titty caca in that. I saw y'all both snicker.
Definitely not.
Cusco and Lake Titicaca, the Great Pyramids,
All right, fine. I couldn't help myself.
I didn't even realize that's what he was saying. He said it so weird and like languidly.
Oh, he said it weird?
Cusco and Lake Titicaca, the Great Pyramids,
Yeah, he sounded like sleepy saying a nitty.
He always kind of talks like he's running out of breath. Like he's kind of a crazy talker. That guy.
He was waking up from barbiturates.
He's got a wild voice on him, and they love to let him talk. They let him go.
Yeah, he gets so red when he gets all excited. He's the best.
Yeah, he just starts saying stuff like Lake Titicaca and just naming different places around the world.
Cusco and Lake Titicaca, the Great Pyramids.
Right, exactly like that.
Just does that.
So the whole thing with this is that the theory is there are tunnels underneath the pyramids, much like the lava tubes underneath volcanoes, and that those were used to create power with rushing water and magnetism. I'm talking about the actual pyramids, that the tunnels underneath were almost supposed to replicate lava tubes and to generate power, which would obviously lead to this conclusion.
In a sense, it's like an interdimensional portal where beings and craft can shift to other dimensions, go to other planets even.
Exactly.
And is it possible that some of these people who have disappeared have actually been taken off planet or something?
That would make sense to me. I mean, given what we're hearing about this, that they could have just stumbled into some kind of portal, as you're suggesting. I mean, seriously, we've got tremendous magnetic energy there, disappearances, all kinds of mysterious incidences like that.
That's fascinating.
It is fascinating, Giorgio Tsoukalos, but
it's fascinating.
But what do they do with this information? They've done the show for so long, and they're like, I think we figured out all these disappearances. It's because the Mount Shasta is a pyramid and it's a portal, and
that's fascinating.
Right.
So every single mountain is like a pyramid that doesn't have a volcano in it.
Whoa.
It's like it's almost a pyramid.
Almost, yeah.
But it doesn't have a volcano in it.
I think that they really get excited on this show. They start talking about stuff.
Much.
They get. It's kind of like that other show where they really get themselves worked up. These guys are getting themselves worked up too. The whole pyramid thing that came out of left field. Wasn't really expecting that. Don't really know how that ties into the mountain. Still, they're just shaped similar. I guess the energy thing. The guy mentions. I don't know if that's coming up soon, but that there's water in the mountain.
Well, right. That's the whole. That's also brought up that the water could be underneath the pyramids way back in the day. And you were right also about the format change of this, where it is like three guys just sitting at a table talking about this. I thought. Ancient Aliens, they were going off on adventures, searching for this, but they do eventually, because the show does go into action mode as they send out their adventurer for this episode, a guy named William Henry, and he goes and meets with local author Dustin Neef to explore some of those underground tunnels. So they go to Weed, California, which is about 20 miles from the Shasta.
Sick.
But it's got these really, really sick lava tubes that you can go all around in. You can search for portals, and they look for evidence of UFOs, disappearances, you name it. But they also are out there looking for those light beings, those Lemurians.
Hell yeah.
And William Henry, he's very interested in that. And he asked this expert, Dustin, are light beings really a thing that we could encounter here?
Yeah, there's a lot of, supporting evidence, and I think there's something to the stories. Lemuria is a civilization that was quite an advanced civilization for its time, and it existed somewhere off the Pacific coast of North America.
The existence of a lost continent named Lemuria was first proposed by zoologist Philip Sclater in 1864. Curiously, this theory is corroborated by the ancient oral traditions of the native Hawaiian people, which say that the Pacific islands of the region were once part of a giant continent, one that was home to a highly advanced, otherworldly civilization.
We do know that there are some people got lost, and this is who we call the Mu or the Lemuria people you might refer to. They existed at one time, and then we lost them under the ocean.
Yes. So the Mu of Lemuria, washed away the ocean. This show is a great way of staying positive about all of these possibilities. Hawaii was definitely part of this other thing. They're gone now, but somehow they survive in Mount Shasta.
Yeah, I guess that's a way to describe it, is positive about it instead of just throwing everything that they've got 100%. Oh, 10,000%. This is exactly what happened.
Right, we don't hear a lot of stuff about Atlanteans existing now. I mean, maybe in space somewhere, but there's not a current iteration of a place where you might be able to run into one. They might suck you into a mountain or try to make you do something on some paper.
That is true. Atlantis doesn't really have
surviving
actual,
Atlanteans place, right?
Physical location where they're this is probably where it was, and you can't go visit there and see remnants of possible Atlantis. It's
just
all kind of
somewhere in the
fantasy.
Atlantic Ocean, I imagine. But
it's somewhere,
it
probably. That would make sense. That would actually make a lot of sense. But no, this one does feel like, you can go to Shasta and you're somehow connected to Lemuria. I don't know. The fact that people from Hawaii are taking claim to it a little bit does kind of give it a little bit of credence. Does make it feel like
it does make you feel roots. Something in the folklore connects this together, and
yeah, that's kind of interesting.
This idea, it started to become popular among occult circles in the 19th century. Madame Blavatsky wrote about Lemuria. A lot of people wrote about Lemuria in the occult writings of the late 19th century, earliest 20th century. So that's kind of where that has its base. That's why a lot of those what we call New Age religions all kind of pop up around there. It's very popular in that lore. And they also bring up the story of a prospector named J.C. Brown, who in 1906, this guy claimed to have found a tunnel outside of Mount Shasta that led to some kind of relic chamber that had documents about a lost civilization, and it also had mummified giants in this cave he found. This is a very sensational story in the earliest 20th century. This guy, J.C. Brown, but he wanted to prove it. So he returned to the area, and we get to hear about his return.
About 30 years later, J.C. Brown returned to Stockton, and his intention was to raise an expedition to go back up to this site and catalog what he found. And he raised a party of about 80 different people. And on the day that they were supposed to depart to go up to this site, he just mysteriously vanished.
He just vanishes.
Yeah, no one ever heard from him again.
I wonder if there could be some advanced ancient technology that he didn't fully understand associated with portals, the light beings, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm sure that's exactly what happened. It was probably probably technology or light beings that just grabbed this guy.
What else could it be?
Yeah, what if he just charged these 80 people, hey, I'm going to take you to this relic room, and he just bailed on them all? Or I don't know, maybe light beings didn't want all these looky-loos and decided to, throw JC in a portal.
There's that.
It sounds like he just had a really good scam idea, and then he executed it and then got the fuck out of it.
Yeah, it was like a monorail kind of scam. He pulled on these people. We're going to all get together. We're going to go up in the mountain. I swear to God, there's giant mummies. Mummies.
Or he fell into a portal, and he landed in Lemuria. And that's
Slightly
where he
more
is.
likely.
He's probably still there. He's probably still alive, honestly. That's how they do it on Ancient Aliens. They just keep going, just keep.
And they end up coming up with like some kind of magical, perfect ending that like, I totally believe this is what happened when, 10 chapters ago was just a huge wild guess.
Oh,
they
we're
are going with it.
They are always super satisfied with their own episodes. Like, I think we figured it out. We're gonna move on because we've learned so much. And there's another one here. So there's another famous encounter like this, and it was made by a guy named Guy Warren Ballard in 1930. This guy
What
was
happened to the giant mummies?
We don't know. That guy disappeared.
There weren't any, I guess.
JC was going to take everyone there. He had his whole tour group together.
That was it. They never found anything about these giants. You know what?
No.
If you want to hear more about giants,
stick around. We have our
Giants episode's coming. It's coming.
It is coming. It's coming. But we have one more famous encounter here, and this is from a guy named Guy Warren Ballard. This is from 1930. This guy was a mining engineer who worked in this area, and he encountered a mysterious, glowing figure.
Guy reported that when he was hiking on Mount Shasta in the early 1930s, he encountered some extraordinary, mysterious teacher, which he later identified as the Ascended Master.
This is a radiant being dressed in white, and they get into a long conversation. And this teacher, this guru, this otherworldly character teaches Ballard the secrets of enlightenment.
For ancient astronaut theorists, Ballard's description of a radiant being is reminiscent of accounts from ancient times of similarly luminous figures.
In Irish legend, we learn of the Tuatha De Danann, or the Tua De Dan. These are luminous humanoid beings who are considered to be beings of immense wisdom, who are also called the Shining Ones.
Similar to the Shining Ones of the Celtic tradition, the ancient Sumerian gods known as the Anunnaki were also described as glowing figures. Might these accounts, including those made about Mount Shasta, be true?
Well, there it is. It took them almost an entire episode, but they were able to pull it back to the Anunnaki. Drea, Rob, it had to happen, right? Ancient Aliens is nothing without their Anunnaki.
I mean, I feel like that's their gravy train.
Doesn't it just mean ancient alien Anunnaki? Isn't that like what that means? I'm pretty sure. Or maybe I'm wrong.
Pulled Mount Shasta in there. It's on the ley line. It looks like kind of like a pyramid. It's got all this code. It's Anunnaki. That's Anunnaki on there.
And I feel like it would have been smart for us to have done like an Anunnaki episode at some point, because they're like,
how do you do that though? There's so much. It never stops.
Like super covered.
There's so much Anunnaki out there, but I don't know. You got to kind of know what they are to get into this. And that's just Ancient Aliens.
Yeah,
like if you've watched an episode of Ancient Aliens,
you know the
exactly.
Anunnaki.
They beat that shit to death.
The ancient Sumerians.
They beat all the Anunnaki to death.
They have to pull everything into it, though. Nothing is sacred. At least Mysteries Outdoor, they were just straight up demons or whatever they were doing, or poo grandmas and
Yeah,
clones.
at this point, I'm actually kind of appreciating that angle of like, you know what? It's demons and they're starting a super war.
Yeah, they're like, we have no connection. We don't have to keep this Anunnaki storyline going for 25 fucking seasons. We can just look at it as it is and talk to whatever weirdos live in the area who are willing to talk to us, right?
Okay, and I just looked it up. So they're the offspring of An, who was
a Naki,
an alien. Yeah.
An alien Anunnaki.
Yeah, he's an alien Anunnaki. Exactly.
And then we made it there. Congratulations. They can't top that. So I'm going to stop the clips there. The rest of this was not very compelling. You had Mr. Henry and Daniel out there. They go out in the caves. They measure magnetic activity, and there's a little device, and it spikes at some place, and they're like, whoa. And then they leave. But then they come to the conclusion that Mount Shasta, wow, this deserves further investigation. And I agree. I think more people need to go there and try and film shows. I think they should send Jack Osborne out there. I think they should send Jeremy and Big Nick. They can do 28 Days Shasta out there. I would love to see that. And I would say send Kesha out there, but I don't need to, because Kesha went out there. I'm going to play a little tease of that in our final clip.
I'm walking into the eye of a supernatural vortex, a location that Bigfoot reportedly calls home, and where many believe an ancient race lives deep within the mountain's core. Could this subterranean race of people be the cause of the park's many disappearances? Or could it be due to the scores of alien abductions? Or worse, is there a crazed killer Bigfoot on the loose? There's only one way to find out. I'm going in.
Whoa, what's going to happen to Kesha? We'll find out soon because we are going to cover that and much more on our next bonus episode on Patreon. That's right, I tricked you into a commercial there at the end. We don't have time to cover all of Kesha's adventures at Mount Shasta, but...
Dude, Killer Bigfoot has entered the chat.
All right, that we'll cover that in the bonus episode, but Mount Shasta, what we know so far. Dre, you got any final thoughts or a suggestion for the poll? What should the poll for this even be?
Oh, man. Oh, I guess the only natural thing to do for a poll question is like, what is actually disappearing all the people on Mount Shasta? Is it UFOs? Is it Bigfoot? Is it Lemurians? Or is it just creeps who want your poop?
Is it Killer Bigfoot? Like Kesha thinks it is.
Killer
apparently.
Bigfoots or poop grannies? I want poop grannies to be one, please.
We'll figure it out. We'll condense it.
We'll get to it. But you have any final thoughts on the mountain itself? And I guess I should ask, I know you're as a California native, have you ever been out Shasta Way?
No, it's so far north. I've never been
It's up there.
It's really far away from Southern California.
She's
like
a
I said, it's
SoCal
about
girl.
10 hours.
Yeah.
I've gone to Mammoth Lakes, Yosemite. That's a good 8 hours. That's as far as I've made it up there.
All right. Well, I guess I don't know if after hearing all this, I don't know if I want to even get out there, but I'm very fascinated about Mount Shasta. So yeah, definitely go answer this week's poll. Go to r/Unbelievers podcast on Reddit. I've been loving all the participation we're getting out there. I appreciate that. Both of you guys, any final thoughts on Mount Shasta? Where do you stand, Drea? What do you think is going on there?
I don't rightly know. I have no idea. I just don't think that it's an ancient civilization that is interloping with our society and trying to alter our DNA. That's the one thing I can say definitively.
Okay. Yeah, I got to get behind her on that one. I don't think that the Lemurian theory really, I hate to make a bad Shasta pun, but I don't think it holds up any water. I know it's supposedly filled with water, but I don't believe it.
Shasta soda is full of sugar.
I think they're full of it is what they are. And I've said it before on the show that like certain places I think are just energy hotspots. And I think interdimensional beings, maybe aliens, there's whatever else is visiting us. I don't know what it is because there's definitely, at this point, the government's accepted it. Everybody's seeing these things all the time. There's videos of them out there. There's pictures of them out there. There's something flying around in our atmosphere. What the hell are they? We don't know. Are they aliens? Are they interdimensional? Are they us from the future or something? Who the fuck knows? But I think that whatever they are, they charge up in certain places. They use the energy that our planet creates. It somehow has a symbiosis with their craft, or somehow they figured out how to harness that energy, and they charge in certain places. And that's why there's these hotspots where they see these things. And I think that this might just be like a super hotspot where a lot of stuff comes there and uses the energy from this
There's
mountain.
a lot of
whatever
quartz. Yeah,
like I think it's more about the minerals that are built up, whatever sort of stone this mountain is made out of.
The magnetic energy going on.
The magnetic
underneath.
energy, exactly. The ley line thing, I think that's probably like the realest thing that anybody said on any of this information that they covered about it was the ley line thing, because I think the ley lines, there's something interesting about ley lines. We talked about them how many times on the show? They always come up.
And you almost feel like, the way they put it as that humans are somehow drawn to this spot just of the natural energy, the Earth's energy pull, that there are these hotspots in the Earth. And I'm not saying there's some ancient civilization there, but maybe it is not only drawing people up there, but weird creatures or the things that are coming in ships. People are drawn there, and I think
that's fascinating.
And
I think humans are drawn there because of curiosity. Humans are drawn to curiosity, especially when there's
we're
something.
Curious about curiosity, yeah.
We're curious about curiosity. we're curious about the unknown, and like
I think
a lot of people
are
interested in seeing what else is out there as far as like what is there that we don't know, and I think this is like a place where people go. One of the popular places because you can. Who knows? It sounds like you could go there. You might see anything. There's numerous things.
You might die.
You might die.
You might
Who
die
knows?
naturally. You might just disappear forever. You might end up being recreated.
You might have to poop on paper. It might happen in a cave.
I've always talked about wanting to be reenacted on a show, but not in this way. I don't want to be someone who dies and gets reenacted. I want to be the other guy who finds the dead body.
You want to still be telling your story while they're reenacting.
I want to be. I want to.
alongside.
Yes, exactly. Where someone kind of looks like me. All right, that's it. Let's get out of this. This was a lot of fun, and that's it for. Let's get off this mountain if we can.
Okay.
Crystal singing in the key of A. Opening memories of the days. Building cities with our minds. Bodiless souls through space and time.
All right, come on, sing with me, guys. 3, 2, 1. Great Lemuria track there. Some great Mount Shasta music.
Is that Lemurian sex music? What was that?
No, that's their wedding music. What are you talking about? So disrespectful.
I'm sorry. You play that before you listen to the Lemurian sex
right before the wedding, actual wink ceremony.
Duh. Ancient Lemurian tradition.
Right, when you snatch someone's grandma and you stick a thing in the back of her neck, whatever they're doing.
Get it in wherever you can, whenever you can. That's the motto of Mount.
I never let things like that bother me, though. But I've seen things like that all the time.
That's fascinating.
Man, Mount Shasta. Ooh, we kind of climbed the peak. I think we figured out kind of what's going on there, and I'm sure it'll lead to more fun stuff. This has been a fun episode. I needed a little bit of a break from the weird abductions and whatever else we're getting into. But
you needed a break from the weird abductions to talk about weird abductions on a mountain that just were different types of abductions.
I needed to get away from weird stuff in general, which is why we do this podcast that doesn't talk about weird stuff in general.
Last year, I wanted to get away from animals being cruelly mutilated, and everything we got into, it's like, oh, by the way, something got mutilated. And this year, it's like,
finally got away from it.
We got away from that.
Finally got away from it.
We totally
just asking 3-year-olds for poop.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Would at this point give me the animals back. I'll take a dead animal at this point.
Yeah, now you get
talking
this.
about a lot of shit now.
Did the entity want the boy's feces in order to clone him too?
Yeah,
Great
it's a weird
stuff.
trade-off.
Great stuff we're getting into. Thanks for sticking around for this. But let's hear from you guys. It's time for the Unbelievers mailbag.
The Unbelievers mailbag.
Ooh, right in the mailbag.
Hey man, check your mailbox.
Hey, you got some new mail over here.
Mailbag. The mailbag is cool. Mailbag.
Sup, bitches? It's mail time.
Yeah, woo. I just had one email I wanted to read that came through recently. It says, just wanted to reach out to say I love your guys' podcast. I found it a few months ago and finally got all caught up. I never listened to a podcast about paranormal stuff before, and it was nice that I already knew something about some of the topics you guys discussed, such as Ohio Grassman, Loveland Frogman, and Flatwoods Monster. Well, it sounds like you know a little bit about paranormal stuff. I mean, come on.
Quite a bit.
Yeah. Sounds like you know
That's good stuff.
a lot.
Grassman's a pretty deep cut, as well as learning about stuff I've never heard of before, like the Hodag Rebob and many of the alien abduction stories. The episode you guys did on Pigman is probably my favorite one, since you guys brought up the Mountain Monsters episode with Hogzilla, which is one of 2 episodes where they actually caught what they were looking for. Although my wife insists that it was just a regular pig and may or not be right. Hope you guys stick around longer and cannot wait to finally be able to participate in poll results. Well, thanks for catching up. This is from Nathan. Thanks. Welcome aboard, Nathan. New listener. I love it.
Welcome and thank you.
He loves Pigman.
Dude, that episode does still stick with me. I think just literally 2 days ago, I quoted that one where, what's the soundboard clip where he's just like, everything dies.
Yeah, that was
crazy,
the Hunter.
that hyped up maniac.
Everything dies.
Yeah, that was actually just a hunter named Pigman who just kills things on YouTube. That's his whole deal.
Yeah,
and we get
kind of
flagged.
unstable there.
Yeah, we get flagged for watching Canadian kids shows. This guy is just allowed to just bow hunt pigs constantly.
Right, we're trying to fight the good fight, and then we're the ones getting slapped in the wrists and on the face all the time.
Well,
It's just not
technically,
cool.
I think as long as they're shooting pigs, they're cool with it. It doesn't qualify as violence if it's just a pig.
Yeah, but we would get in trouble for watching it probably.
We probably would, actually. They probably would.
probably would.
They would. YouTube doesn't really
It's
like
like
us.
everything gets flagged.
YouTube just hates us. Is like everything sucks.
Every stream dies. Like that's YouTube's. But no, check out. That's why follow the Twitch. The Twitch is always good. But if I follow all the things, follow everything. Just join.
No,
join
follow
us for
YouTube.
It's an adventure.
I figured
then
it
get
out.
disappointed on YouTube because our streams always get cut off.
But stick around though. I have a new episode of Believer Skeptic coming. I will be doing my
Of course,
live
only
streams.
available on YouTube.
That's only available on
Nathan,
YouTube. I'll be
please do
doing my
answer-
YouTube streams
Answer
too.
the poll.
Yeah, and answer the
Join
poll.
in
Yeah.
now.
Now, Nathan, Drea, Nathan really wants to participate in polls, and you can. You can go to, for now, I want to say also thank you to a couple unbelievers who reached out about wanting to fix the website and put the poll results back up there. There are a couple people working in the background to make that happen. But for now, and it is working, we are on Reddit. So let's move on to everyone's third favorite segment, which is Drea.
It's poll results.
This week's poll was who made the fake comet UFO picture, and the choices were Dr. Courtney Brown, Professor Courtney Brown, Courtney Brown's tulpa, or other. I'm going to ask you, Drea Mora, what do you think the unbelievers said?
Probably Courtney Brown's tulpa.
All right, how about you, Rob?
I think Professor. I prefer Professor over Doctor, so I'm going to go with Professor.
All right, Rob, coming in second place, Professor Courtney Brown. But first place, Courtney Brown's tulpa, taking it home.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that surprising.
Congratulations, Drea, on winning that. But of course, there are others. It was made by a Project Grudge, a.k.a. Project Sign, a.k.a. Project Blue Book, a.k.a. the Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force, a.k.a. the Airborne Object Identification and Management Synchronicity Group, a.k.a. the All Domain and Anomaly Resolution Office, and it was a UAP, not a UFO. Signed, Ramadas. Whoa, all right. That's why we need the website back. These are too long, but thank you,
What a
Ramadas.
mouthful.
Thank you, Ramadas.
And then some.
Who made the fake comet UFO picture? I will track down Dr. Professor Courtney Brown and personally give this nerd the wedgie he deserves. Signed, Unbeliever Maxwell. There you go, Unbeliever
Well
Maxwell.
deserved.
I will personally come to your house and kick your ass.
Kick your
He's
ass.
going to do it. You better look out, dude.
Who
Hell
made
yeah.
the fake comet UFO picture? It was Theodore. Don't stop me now. I'm having such a good time. I'm out of control. Signed, Tycoon Titty Boy Boy. Thank you, Tycoon Titty Boy Boy. Oh, that was
Love
good.
it.
Theodore, don't.
Theodore, don't.
Good one. Tycoon Titty Boy Boy coming in strong. Who made the fake comet UFO photo? A tea salesman from China. Signed, Sprinkles von Tingle. Sprinkles von Tingen.
What does that have to do with the price of tea in China? We know that the picture's fraudulent.
That is the price of tea in China.
Yes.
Thank you,
course.
Sprinkles von Tingen. Who
you,
made the
Sprinkles.
fake comet UFO photo? Man, the survivors of Heaven's Gate definitely probably looked around at the aftermath and said, oh no, vampire comets. Signed, EV Penis. Wow, that's
a good one.
Call.
Oh no, vampire rod.
Good one, EV Penis. Who made the fake comet UFO photo? They definitely have trouble dealing with things very close to their face. Rus Ryan, host quotes. Yes. There's no quote for that, but
Just to clarify, Dave, about why you'd want to put it on your
Russell Ryan. I said his name backwards.
thank you, host quotes. Very good. Who made the fake UFO comet photo? The one-armed man. Just kidding. It was Courtney. Oh, but you didn't
I
sign
kind of like
off.
the idea about the one-armed man. Dang it, you should have signed off. Maybe it was Bob.
Could I say their Reddit name? Because they kind of signed off with their. I'll say it's
Okay.
Dark Haterade. Dark Haterade with that. Good one, Dark
So that
Haterade.
works. Yeah.
Sounds like a Redditor.
Look, yeah, I have backup sources for names now. You can't not sign off if you do it on Reddit. That's actually pretty good.
Yeah, unless you want to put just all underscores or something. Don't do that.
To one-armed man, just kidding, it was Courtney. Of course it was Courtney. Who made the fake UFO comet photo? He has the secret information. He just can't share it with Art Bell. Signed a green fin hawk.
I have the top secret information. I just can't share it. You don't think?
You don't think I want to share it?
Good one, Green Fin Hawk. Who made the fake comet UFO photo? In a wild twist, Whitley Striebeheil dressed up as a dead chupacabra and faked that photo. Why would I lie about something like that? Signed, Taylor.
Weren't Whitley Striebeheil? Not at all.
Not at all.
And why would he lie? Why would he lie?
Oh, why would I lie about something like that?
Very good, Taylor. Awesome. Who made the fake comet UFO photo? Hey, those are my photos. Signed, Joe Schmo.
That's Joe Schmo's pictures.
Yeah.
Pictures.
Yeah.
See? What the
I don't know. Joe Schmo kind of had a little freak out there.
No, that honestly improved it.
That was dope. Sick remix.
Good one, Joe Schmo. Who made the fake comet UFO photos? All those haters out there. Signed, Corrupted Mask. And that is the final one for this evening. A lot of great ones tonight.
For those haters out there who think this is fake, I'll stop you right there.
Sorry, Russ. I didn't mean to stop you right there, but
You can. That gives you full permission, that clip. So many good ones tonight. Drea, did any stand out to you in this? Who'd you like?
Yeah, I definitely really liked Unbeliever Maxwell's, and then my follow-up would be Tycoon Titty Boy Boy. Which
So we had Unbeliever Maxwell. I will track down Dr. Professor Courtney Brown and personally give this nerd the wedgie he deserves. That was Unbeliever Maxwell. What was the other one?
Tycoon Titty Boy Boy. I can't keep
I love
on saying
hearing
this
Drea
name.
pronounce the names again. Like, try to say them like seriously.
Is
Like,
there any way to make it sound better?
It's like Tycoon Titty Boy Boy.
We had Tycoon Titty Boy Boy with, it was Theodore. Don't stop me now. I'm having such a good time. I'm out of control.
Yeah, that one.
That was pretty good. I'll say I was a big fan of, I like Green Finhawk. He has the secret information. Just can't share it with Art Bell. That was
does
pretty
make
good.
sense.
I also like, hey, those are my photos.
That's Joe Schmo's pictures.
Yeah.
Pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the remix. I'll give it to you
Yeah.
again. How about you, Rob? Well, what did you prefer?
I like the first one that Drea said too. I'm gonna go with that one.
Unbeliever
one's-
Maxwell.
Do you like Unbeliever Maxwell?
Yeah, I like Unbeliever Maxwell because he brought the Art Bell into it. I feel like this dude, he does seem like he needs a good wedgie or like a swirly or something.
Oh, I thought you meant Unbeliever Maxwell deserves a good one.
No, I don't know.
Like he just needs
I don't
this
know
right
him
now.
well enough to give. He may, but I don't know him well enough to say that confidently. But the dude, whatever his name is, who came up with this bullshit story that fooled all these people into killing themselves.
Oh, yeah, I mean...
I think it was a little more than a wedgie or a swirly. Yeah, you're right.
You know what? He's a real.
And I will say
guy.
this: people have sent me recent things that that Courtney Brown is still out there doing weird videos, and he's all weirdly in
Really?
Sure he is.
I don't even want to say what he's in. He's
So maybe
very
he does deserve a
far
wedgie.
into weird cosmic disclosure stuff. He's definitely still out there. Maybe maybe a little ire needs to come his way. But until then, congratulations, Unbeliever Maxwell with I will track down Dr. and Professor Courtney Brown and personally give this nerd the wedgie he deserves. You just won this week's poll results. Well, all right, we have come to the end of the program, but before we go, Drea Mora, do you have anything you would like to say or plug?
I guess I just want to plug Spirits and Spirits Pod. We've had a really fun time lately. We had Nick Simons on, after they met you on Unbeliever. No, not. It's always going to say Unbeliever Skeptic. Believer Skeptic. Your little side shoot.
It's the same thing.
I might as well change it to Unbeliever Skeptic at this point, but
It's so hard to not say
it
Unbeliever.
is hard. I say it myself, and I'm the stupid host. But yes, please go check out Spirits and Spirits. Our boy, Nick Simon, showing up out there with you and Mike and Jack. Very awesome
And Snacking with Jackpot. I wasn't done with my plugs. So Snacking with Jackpot as well. We had Rob on very recently as well. It was a really fun time. We got a lot of fun stuff.
Shout out
Good
to
shit.
Snacking with Jackpot.
Absolutely. Go check out both those shows. And how about you, Rob? Anything to say or plug?
Check out my Instagram at Rob Okey. Man, I don't know.
And
See you
Okey
later, New
Audio.
York.
Plug Okey Audio too.
Yeah, Okey. Check out Okey Audio. Support all the things. Support Last Podcast Network. Support the Unbelievers Podcast Patreon. Just go and subscribe. You know, you're going to find a lot of cool stuff on there. You're going to like it.
Yeah, you're going to love it.
Trust
I
me.
guarantee it. You're going to like the way you
guarantee it. Check out the Patreon. Check out the YouTube channel. We already have Believer Skeptic coming out. Check out our buddies from Dark Sayings, Pete, who used to be Creepy Little Book. Him and I did a live stream recently. Go check that out on YouTube. Check out all that fun stuff. And that's it. The Unbelievers Podcast host today were Drea, Mora, and me, Rus Ryan. Our producer and soundboard engineer is Rob Okey. Our editor is Eisa YZ. You can join our Patreon by going to patreon.com/unbelieverspodcast for monthly bonus episodes and a bunch of more stuff. And you can follow the show on Twitter at Unbelievers Pod and Instagram at Unbelievers Podcast. Our Facebook group is the Unbelievable Podcast Network. And check out our merch store at TeePublic. There's a link in the description. Our official music advisor is Pandora3373. Our official composer and theme song creator is Unbeliever Aaron, a.k.a. Aaron Shilb. Follow him on Instagram at the Aaron Shilb. Our official graphic designer and card maker who designed our logo is Raymond Rowell. Check out his work at Harley Warren Art on Twitter and harleywarren.com on the internet. Our official Guardian of the Bench is at Kraken Stacker. Our official Alien Bopper is Dunchuck Bob. And from Patreon, our official extraterrestrial woman still waiting for hashtag rubbing heads to trend is Crescent Moon. Our official Reverend Doctor of the podcast is the non-Newtonian Druid. Our official Big Island paranormal friendly weatherman is Green Finhawk. Our official procrastinator is Jeffrey Hartneriff. Our official Baby Yoda publicist is Bam Z. Our official Unbeliever listening between the stations for a message from Art Bell is Scott E. Our official Unbeliever raising puck wedgies is Joe Filler. Our official Madman is Unbeliever Adam. Our official Unbelievers time traveler is Taylor Nelson. Our official snack is Jack S. Our official ghost hunter is Amelia Childs, a ghost hunting in New England. Our official senior European correspondent is Kay Mill of the I Don't Know podcast. Our official art curator is Isis Haynes. Our official Rod is Rod Begley. Please Miolo. Our official Unbeliever in need of titles are Mike Henry, Todd X, Lid Vicious, Sandra and Deborah Foles, Ramiro, Trash Baby, Adam Dvorak, Wombat Preservationist. And this week's Unbeliever focus is Ask Zeeg3 on Instagram, who is gearing up for a summer trip and plans on making it out to as many paranormal hotspots as possible. That's always exciting, going on trips, looking for paranormal stuff. So when I asked her which places were at the top of her list for this trip, she said
Cusco, Lake Titicaca, Great Pyramids,
Yes, thank you. Good night.
Discontinue! Discontinue!